So, Chris, we want to know what your style is and what to expect in an eval, because I think what people think when they're coming in for an evaluation and what they get is very different.
But why is it style?
Well, because usually you think when you're going to go in, you think you have it all planned. Like if you're going to like Petco, you walk in.
Wait. I'm sorry, what?
If you go into Petco.
Are you comparing me to Petco?
No, I'm trying to know why you're different than Petco.
Because I'm better.
Why? What makes you what's your style? What makes you different?
Because wanting to know why my services are better than Petco's services is like asking if a toothless 86-year-old hooker is as good as one of the call girls out in Vegas.
Really?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, there's a big difference. Think about it.
Good
Get
comparison.
it? You think so?
I like it.
Get it in your head and think about that.
Okay, but what's the layman's term for that then? Bring it back down to basics. So I go in with my dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a brand new dog that I just.
What breed?
Catahoula.
Okay.
So he's people aggressive.
Yeah.
Right?
That's not hard to believe.
Okay. So we walk into Petco
Yeah.
because they have the whole training thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get there, they kind of walk you through a couple things. They treat you. They say, hey, if he growls at something, distract him, treat him. But you feel good. You feel good. You feel like you're giving your dog something that it's going to be able to focus on and be happy with.
And you want to know what the difference is between...
Well, then I want to know. So I walk into your evaluation, and I think I'm going to kind of get the same. So here I'll tell you, my expectation was because I wasn't necessarily brand new to the animal thing. I kind of had a little bit of a clue to it, and so I was like, here's what I'm doing, and you basically were like, great, that's wrong. So
why don't you tell people the difference between my style and Petco style?
So I think the difference is that when you get into yours, people think you're going to kind of appease them a little bit to try and get the business, and you have the opposite angle. So what got you to that point? What made you learn to do it a different way? Why does that work?
I cannot stand bullshit. My bullshit meter is incredibly sensitive, and it's when someone walks through the door, I assume they want the answers to their problems, and they want to know what the problem is. I mean, you guys have been through evals. You have, Mr. Sean. Have I yelled at you?
No.
Yes, he's like, yes, you did yell at me. Did I yell at you? Did I go like, you stupid bastard?
No.
Is that what it felt like?
Yes.
My explanation would be a rude awakening, is how it felt.
Rude.
Yes.
No, a rude awakening.
But rude, not a transformational awakening.
Well, I think perception is reality at that point. I don't think the transformational part comes until after you see the result.
But if you're, I'll go with Cassie. If your dog's trying to slaughter people like Jeffrey Dahmer, I'm not gonna put some fairy farts, rainbows, and unicorns on it. I'm saying your dog is trying to kill people.
Well, I think that's what she means by rude awakening, because I think every other trainer is
Put it lightly.
They beat around the bush, and they're like, oh, well, what you need to do, they try to make her feel better, but not really fix the problem.
Well, I wasn't trying to make her feel bad.
No,
I was
but you're
just
trying to be honest and say, well, this is, what the real issue is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, I hear what Karen's saying is like, what makes you different? I think now that I understand a little bit better, this really feels like an intervention, by the way.
We've all gathered here today.
Chris, we're not really doing a podcast.
It's all
We're just going to
Why
talk
are you
to.
so rude?
I tried to jump out the window. So the deal is that I guess I know something that people don't know, and it's lost. It's a lost, I guess, nugget of common sense that a dog is a dog. And I say this to everybody, I say it all the time, it's a really crappy time to be a dog because there's no jobs for them. They were bred to work for us. It sounds stupid and like a little factoid, but their the relationship with humans predates the horse by 16,000 years. That's an old relationship. Now they think it's 33,500 years that dogs have been domesticated. They found evidence for that. We wouldn't get anywhere near where we are today as a species without the dog, because the dog was a tool. The dog could be used to herd sheep, to defend your home, to hunt ducks, to kill vermin, to flush things, to do all kinds of different things that we just don't need them to do anymore. So now, add to that the fact that people just want them, and they're genetically predisposed to hunting and doing all that work. They get in trouble. They get into big trouble. And, people will say, oh, no, that's not true. I love my dog. Well, if there's not an epidemic of people thinking dogs are human beings, then why do we have shelters, rescues, and pounds in every city in the United States, and why are they full? Because when you get sick of it, you can just drop it off. So I guess I start to worry about, if I trained like everybody else did, or my approach was like everybody else's, then I think their approach isn't changing anything. And maybe it is like a wake-up call.
I think oftentimes it makes it worse. I mean, it kind of happened with your cases.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, have you been to other places where everybody treats the dogs the exact same way?
No, yeah, I think they didn't. I think they ran out of tools. At least with Lorelei's case, that they were fine if it was within the program that they were teaching, but if she reacted differently, and they were lost. If she was going after a dog, they were lost.
So if they went outside they have a formula.
Right.
If the dog goes outside the cookie cutter formula,
Yes, they don't
you're
know
screwed.
what to do with it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's amazing to me, and it's difficult, because how do you say in this industry? And remember, there's and people who listen to this, and they don't realize that the dog training industry and the dog industry and the pet industry is all about noologists and experts. Your vet will give you behavioral advice. He's not a behaviorist. Your next door neighbor will say, well, I've had dogs all my life, so I'm an expert. The people at the major pet stores, they put on a t-shirt and they're experts. This lady who used to show dogs is an expert. Everybody's an expert, but everybody wants what they want put in their lap the right way, and they always think it's the dog. And how is it that 350 years ago we were getting along with dogs, and now we're not? And so it's a very, very difficult time to be a dog, because people want to change them instantly into something that they were never meant to be. And so bite statistics are up, and euthanasias are up, and dogs getting hit by everything's up because of that.
So how would you explain your style, though? I mean...
Well, my style of training is different than my style of evaluation.
True. Okay.
It is. It's a lot more fun once you get past the hell of the
the evaluation.
evaluation.
I think you just use it to wean out the people you think are going to stay and do the work.
Right. I mean, there's work to be done for sure when people come in, because the lion's share of the dogs we get, by far, are aggressive, shy, neurotic, all kinds of dogs with behavioral issues. We don't, and the other thing too is that when people come through the door with a dog that's trying to bite my testicles off, and they're like, she's fine, we just want to do agility.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm the one that has to be.
Well, I think that's the thing, is people expect that they're going to have something validated when they walk in there, because they're always looking for validation, right? They're always, the main things that you hear in your evals are, he's really a good dog.
Well,
we do all of this
they
stuff.
tell you
we're
all the
great at this.
superlatives,
They say
and
how
they're
great
there
their
because
dog is,
Yeah.
when they're actually there because
The
for
problems.
a reason.
right.
Yeah.
They tell you all the superlatives, but they're actually there because their dog's a bloodthirsty, testicle biting, axe murdering, Jeffrey Dahmer-ish dog. And they're, I always ask people, I go, okay, so let's put an ad in the newspaper for this dog to sell it. Is he obedient? No. Is he destructive? Yeah. Is he friendly? Well, to us. Well, is he friendly to strangers and people? No. Does he go after cats? Yeah. Okay, so how much are you asking for him? Oh, for this dog, I'd ask $1,000. So if you read that ad that said, it's an honest ad, human aggressive, dog aggressive, animal aggressive, 6-year-old pit bull Rottweiler mix with no obedience, not housebroken, but loves us, $1,000, would you buy that?
No.
No. And then they kind of wake up, but the thing is, they go, well, you're just being a dick. Well, I'm not being a dick. I'm trying to. The closer you get to the truth with someone, the more they freak out, and they just don't like it.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine, but it's still the truth. I'm not going to sit there and lie to everybody to get their money. I'm going to tell you the truth, because really, I want to help the dog, and you're blocking me from helping the dog. So if you can't hang with the truth, I'm not the place for you.
Yeah. Well, I think that's kind of the bottom line to it, is that people normally go in expecting you to validate their thoughts or ideas or their hopes, right, of what they see as this dog being, and then you're there really as like the voice for the dog and saying this is really not what's happening. The reality of the situation is XYZ. Your dog's a killer. Your dog, is aggressive.
But I also think too, because I don't even know how to put this. I really don't, but I'll try. The fact that the dog training industry is so full of just the worst informed people in the world who have zero experience, a business card and a website and a dream. I mean, you can go online and become a certified master trainer in 8 weeks, and you never touch a dog. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't want my heart surgeon learning that way. Do you know what I mean? I don't want the person that cooks my food learning that way. You can't become a master at anything in 8 weeks. A master. So what that is someone pays thousands of dollars and they get this certificate and they walk around, they're all puffed up, and they don't know anything. And what they've been taught is even wrong. And it's hard to say that without sounding like that I'm saying I'm the greatest, they suck. I'm not the greatest. I think they're just so bad that I look that good. And it's a very difficult thing. The bar is set very, very low. The other part of it too is nobody wants to make people uncomfortable. I mean, we're in the age of No Child Left Behind. Everyone gets a trophy. The kid with the peanut allergy has every 600 kids in the school can't bring peanuts to school. Okay, maybe that kid should probably homeschool. I don't know. I'm just saying. And then people go, well, you're such a jerk. My son, yeah, I know. But we're going to inconvenience 680 people. So one person, that's how it is today. That's how everything is. So when someone walks through my door and I say, yeah, how you doing? Good to see you. I don't just walk up and kick them in the face. And I say, what are you here for? And they say, well, he's a great dog. And they start qualifying. My bullshit meter goes flying off the scale. And I go, stop. What are you here for? And the minute you try to keep them on task, you're going to find out, do they want to solve the problem or do they want to be fluffed?
Yeah.
I don't fluff.
No. So it's Cassie. Cassie's.
Her dog's alive because I don't fluff.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah. But I don't think when I came in it was a little bit different because we realized how bad it was. We didn't realize exactly what the issues were, causing everything, but we knew it was really bad. So I think we came in like as a cry for help, kind of like telling you all of these bad things that have happened, and then you just kind of explained why they happened and how we made those things lead to more things and etc.
Well, yeah,
but I also think that is an important point, if I can, is that I think you were told in large degree that the things that were making this bad, people told you those were the things to do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the instruction from the other trainers was
pet the dog if he's growling at somebody.
Yeah,
and
that's
things
great.
Like that.
How many fingers did they lose?
So it's a really hard kind of
Bo knows we're talking about.
Yes, Bo does know. You can give Bo some pepperoni so he craps all over Cassie's couch. Yeah, no, go ahead. So yeah, it's one of those things where people just don't want to hear it. They would probably, I mean, the other
Well, I
thing.
think it's because people, for some reason, take it personally. They think that if you say something about the dog, that it's like you're insulting them.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's just trying to get, you're trying to get to the root of the problem and explain why that their actions contributed to the problems that their dog has.
That's another, nobody wants to be told it's their fault. They
Yeah,
always want to think
yeah.
there's something wrong with the dog, and that's why they think the dog is like messed up in the head, and that's why it's biting people. And then you say, no, it's because you're an idiot, and
Yeah.
then they get
Well,
upset.
they're looking for validation of the fact you're right. You tried everything you possibly could. This dog is just insane. But at the same time,
Yeah.
if you tell them you've tried everything you can, there's nothing you can do for this dog, they freak out about it as well.
Yeah, but you know,
But what's the percentage that you tell someone that your dog can't be
I
rehabbed?
feel like it's been
Well,
twice
3 in your whole
over their
life,
20
it's
years.
very, very, very low. I mean, some of it's like you're gonna have to manage this. Like
You're going to have to step up to the
yeah,
plate.
I mean, you've got a dog that's been beaten and abused, which rarely happens. Most people that come in, they're all pampered to death. But that's a podcast for another day. But a dog that's genetically kind of weak and fearful, that people are trying to kind of put a square peg in a round hole, and they're like, they don't get that their dog is very aggressive, very fear aggressive, and they're like, we're gonna go to the dog park today, yay! And they know, like, it's the emperor's new clothes. Like, the dog's lunging at all these kids.
Well, that was like the red pit bull, remember?
Yeah.
Wicked dog aggressive, and she's like, yeah, you got in a fight at the dog park yesterday.
And I'm like,
Well,
why are you at the dog park?
Yeah.
Like, that's common sense. We want to go to the dog park. Well, then go ahead. Well, why are you such a jerk about that? Because your dog's going to kill something at the dog
Well,
park.
people think that you're supposed to go to the situation, which in the theory is somewhat
Yeah,
correct
but
in
you
the
don't
fact that you
just
don't
unleash them and let them have at it.
Right,
you
but
know?
they don't know the tools to be able to
But
manage
Yeah,
it.
it's
they
a-
think they're socializing their dog.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
there's another podcast for socialization. What people think is socialization is actually causing problems. It's insane. So anyway, going back to the original question, because I will go on a tear about this. Going back to the original question is, what's so different about my style? I guess it's not a difference of style. I think it's a difference of substance, meaning that their substance is weak sauce. They don't understand that there's a problem. They don't have a deep enough look down the rabbit hole. They think, I learned from a book that you hold your hand up with a liver snap in it and you say sit, and that's dog training. That's not. It's how you live with the dog that matters. I mean, a monkey can teach a dog sit down, stay heel, and
Most other
come.
places don't even address what goes on at home.
No.
But they don't even know how. So if they started doing it,
Yeah, they
they're
couldn't.
they're not
they wouldn't be able
aware
to, yeah.
of what's going on, and so it's interspecies communication. And what people don't understand is you're trying to talk to something that isn't the same species, and it has its own language. And you're throwing that language away, and that's modern dog training today. And I think that's another part of it is, it's all fairy farts, rainbows, and unicorns. It's let's get the dog to look at me for a treat. That's good. That makes the human feel wonderful. It makes the dog temporarily feel wonderful because he's getting some high value treat, but it does not make the dog obedient. And to be fair, there are people who can have an obedient dog using just food. That's wonderful. But do they have rules at home with their dog? So when the general person who isn't a trainer comes in and says, I have X, Y, and Z problem, and most of the trainers tell them, just avoid it. Just don't go near them. Or here's a muzzle. That's not solving the problem. It's a Band-Aid. So I'm tearing down what their trainer said. I'm tearing down what they've read. I'm tearing down what they saw on TV.
All their beliefs.
All their beliefs. It just shatters.
everything that they've
But it's
been
not.
told
It's not. I mean, I try to be funny when I do it. I try to be like, but there's some people who, when I do an evaluation, I've had people it's not just typically men. There was a woman that melted down and started screaming at me. And I'm like, look, I'm not going to train with you. And she's like, what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do now? You're the only one that can help me. And I'm like, well, perhaps some psychotherapy would be in order, and then you can come back when you're heavily medicated. But that's the problem, is that when we're the Last Chance Cafe and you blow the interview, meaning I'll work with just about anybody. I think you've seen.
True. So who's your ideal, for the person who's getting ready to come in, who's your ideal person they're coming into an eval, what would you say they need to prepare for to be able to give you what you need to help their dog?
Just an open mind.
They have to be willing to want to work with the problem, but
Yeah.
fix the problem.
I used to say to April, I'm tired of being a cheerleader for people who don't even want to be at the game. If you don't want to invest time in your dog, get a
And don't
cat.
do it. Yeah.
That's it. If you don't want to responsibly own this animal the way it needs to be, because it's so different what's responsible now, the way the dog gets it. If the dog doesn't respect you, you've got nothing. You've got nothing. Your dog will be taken off to chase a cat across the street, and you go, come, and the dog's like, yeah, here's the digit, I'm out. That dog has to respect you. It saves the dog's life. When people come in and they are desperate for help but don't want to change, don't come in. If you want the answers, come in. If you have an open mind, come in. I'll help you. I don't give up on anybody. I've never given up on anybody. And we'll always keep working the problem. But there are people who literally come in. I mean, I had this last Saturday, was this guy I've been working with for a very long time, and just kept saying, did you do your homework? Oh, not this week, I didn't do that. Okay. Come in the next week. Did you do your homework? Yeah, I didn't do that. Okay. And then the next week he comes in and goes, listen, the dog just ripped the couch apart. And I said, well, you didn't do your homework. He's like, look, I just want the dog trained. Okay, that's what I want. Yeah, I don't train your dog. You do.
Right.
I'm telling you how to put limits on the dog, and you're not doing it, and you're expecting a result. It's not going to work. So someone who comes in with an open mind, someone who comes in with a sense of humor,
Willing to do the work.
and willing to kind of feel like they're taking a foreign language class with a human psychology class, and a dog training class. And it really is. It's we call it drinking from the fire hose instead of the water fountain. There's a lot of information and there's a lot of big lifestyle changes, but it's the difference between reality. You've got to kind of get that reality that they believe, the false reality, out of their head, and then get them walking down a different path, and they're going to believe it. But it's really difficult because people have a different opinion of what dogs are and what dogs should be
And what they
today,
should do.
and dogs have the complete opposite.
Well, I
view.
think we've noticed over the past, several years that a lot of people are substituting having children and they're getting dogs instead, puppies. And then, a couple of years down the road, after they've just pampered the crap out of the puppy, they're having issues.
Yeah, dinks.
Yeah. Dual income, no kids.
Why are you looking at us?
But yeah, we've noticed that a lot, that the people that are people are having kids later and later in life now, because when they want to be ready and prepared and everything, and so they take it out on the dog and they expect the dog to be like a little baby.
Well, I don't think they
human
take
baby.
it out on the dog. They dump it into the dog.
Well, yeah.
They really think. I mean, I say all the time that a lady or a guy will come in, and you see a lot of guys doing it too. They go, "This dog is my baby," and I'll say to the lady, "Did it come from your vagina?" It did not. It's not your baby.
Well, that's the problem, is that they treat their dog, if that could be 2 or 3 years old, like an infant human baby, and that's why they're having the problems.